Robyn Miriam Carlsson, better known by her stage name Robyn, is a Swedish recording artist. Robyn became known in the late 90s for her worldwide dance pop hit Do You Know from her debut album Robyn Is Here. The popularity of her UK #1 song With Every Heartbeat, and subsequent international album release Robyn in 2007 brought her mainstream success worldwide. Robyn released the first of a trilogy of albums to be released over the course of 2010 titled Body Talk .1, in June of that year, peaking at #1. It was her first album since Robyn. The album's lead single Dancing on My Own was released a few weeks prior to the album's release. It became a hit single worldwide and earned her a Grammy Award nomination for the category of Best Dance Recording in 2011. A follow-up album, Body Talk .2, was released on September 6, entering straight at #1 on the Swedish chart, and the final album of the trilogy, Body Talk, was released on November 22, 2010 with lead single Indestructible. Call Your Girlfriend was the second single to be released from Body Talk. Robyn sings soprano. Music career, 1989 to 1993, career beginnings. Robyn voiced the character Miranda in the 1989 Swedish-Norwegian animated film The Journey to Melonia. The film, directed by Per Lin, is very loosely based on William Shakespeare's The Tempest. She also did the Swedish voice of Anne-Marie in All Dogs Go to Heaven. In 1991, at the age of 12, Robyn recorded the theme song for the Swedish television show Lilla Spårspegel, named Du kan alltid bli nummer ett. She performed her first self-written song at this age on another television show, Za Paragraph and Xa Paragraph PPET. Robyn was rediscovered by Swedish pop singer Major in the early 90s. Major and her band Legacy of Sound visited Robyn's school and were involved with a musical workshop. Robyn's performances impressed Major so much so that she contacted her management and a meeting was arranged with Robyn and her parents. Following the completion of her middle school education, Robyn signed to Ricochet Records Sweden, a subsidiary of BMG. She collaborated with producers Max Martin and Dennis Pop, who provided the singer with a gritty yet popular sound. Writing duties were assisted by Ulf Lindström and Johan Ekha Copyright, who also helped to produce the album, and they stayed on board with Robyn until the completion of her album Don't Stop the Music in 2003. 1994 to 97, Robyn Is Here. Robyn started her career in the pop music industry at the age of 16. She signed a record deal with RCA Records in 1994 to release her debut single, You've Got That Something, in Sweden. Later that same year, her Swedish breakthrough came with the single Do You Really Want Me? These singles became part of the album Robyn Is Here, released in October 1996. Robyn contributed vocals to Black Nuss's 1996 single Roll With Me. Robyn entered Sweden's pre-selection for Eurovision Song Contest 1997, as co-writer and producer of the song Du Gar Paragraph och Mig Helgen, which was performed by Kasa Lisa Amy. In Melodifestivalen 1997 the song ended up in 4th place. Robyn's US breakthrough came in 1997, when the dance pop singles Show Me Love and Do You Know reached a top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. She performed on the children's show All That in 1997, singing Show Me Love, proving her growing popularity in the United States. The songs also performed well in the UK. Robyn re-released Do You Really Want Me internationally, but it did not fare as well as the other releases. In the US, it was ineligible to chart because there was no retail single available, but it reached number 32 on the Hot 100 Airplay chart. The song Show Me Love was prominently used in the 1998 Lukas Moodysson film Fucking Amarjenel, and the song's title was used as the film's title in English-speaking countries. As Robyn's popularity grew across the globe, especially in the United States, she was diagnosed with exhaustion and quickly returned to Sweden to recover. 1998 to 04, My Truth and Don't Stop the Music. Recording began on Robyn's second album in 1998. The album, My Truth, was released in May 1999 in Sweden, with subsequent releases elsewhere in the continent. The single Electric was a hit across Europe and propelled My Truth to number 2 position in Sweden. My Truth was an autobiographical release for Robyn and included the tracks Universal Woman and Giving You Back. Despite her success in the US market with Robyn Is Here, My Truth did not receive an international release. In 1999, Robyn contributed to Christian Falk's debut solo album called Bordel, appearing on the tracks Remember and Celebration. In 2000, she appeared on the track Intro Fry Still on Petter's self-titled album. In 2001, Robyn performed the song Say You'll Walk the Distance to the soundtrack for the film On the Line. In November 2002, Robyn swapped labels at BMG and released the album Don't Stop the Music in Sweden. Singles Keep This Fire Burning and Don't Stop the Music raced playlists in Scandinavia and mainland Europe. The title track was later covered by Swedish girl group Play, and the lead single, Keep This Fire Burning, was covered by British soul singer Beverly Knight. In May 2004, the album Robyn's Best was released in America. It is essentially a condensed version of her debut album, containing no material from her later releases. In 2006, following her departure from BMG, Det Bar Currency star Med Robyn was released in Sweden. It included material from her first 3 albums. Notable omissions from this release were the singles Don't Stop the Music and Keep This Fire Burning. 2005 08, Connoisseur Records and Robyn. The decade-long relationship between Robyn and her label ceased in 2004. When they reacted negatively to Who's That Girl?, which showcased a new electropop sound, Robyn decided to release music on her own. In early 2005, she announced she would be leaving Jive Records to start her own record label. Connoisseur Records was created, with its aim firmly set on liberating Robyn artistically. Robyn revealed on her website that her new album would be released earlier than anticipated, and noted several fabled collaborators on the album, including Klaza Lund from T-Die Bez STHLM, Swedish duo The Knife and former Sheeran Studios producer Alexander Knund. Robyn released the single Be Mine in March 2005. A month later, her 4th studio album, Robyn, became her first #1 album upon its release in Sweden. Sampling influences from electropop and dance pop, Robyn received rave reviews, and gained the singer 3 Swedish Grammy Awards in 2006 for Årets album, Årets compositor Paragraph R, and Årets popkvinnlig. It also garnered Robyn interest on a global level. She gained recognition for co-writing the song Money for Nothing for Daron Zanya, his debut single. Robyn released 3 more singles Who's That Girl?, Handle Me, and Crash and Burn Girl from the eponymous LP, which proved immensely popular in Sweden. Robyn featured on the Basement Jocks track Hey You, taken from their album Crazy Itch Radio, released in 2006. The year also marked the release of Christian Falk's second album, People Say, on which Robyn contributed the tracks Dream On and CCC. In December 2006, Robyn released the Rakamani EP in the UK as a preview to her more recent material. This was followed by the release of Connoisseur Bitches in March 2007. The revised edition of Robyn was released in the UK in April 2007, and contains 2 new tracks with Every Heartbeat, and Cobra Style alongside slightly altered versions of 2 of the original songs. It was removed from British stores to make way for an August re-release. The second single from the UK release was With Every Heartbeat, released in late July and reached #1 on the UK singles chart. Robyn was featured on Joe Halley's BBC Radio 1 showcase show, Live Lounge, a reflection of her growing popularity in Britain. Follow-up singles Handle Me, Be Mine, Who's That Girl?, and Dream On were top 30 hits. In Australia, where Robyn reached a top 10 of the iTunes Store's album chart, With Every Heartbeat receiving substantial attention on radio and video networks in Australia. Also in 2007, Robyn contributed vocals to Flesh Quartet's single This One's For You, from their album Voices of Eden. Connoisseur Records signed an international licensing deal with Universal Music Group to launch and distribute Robyn's music globally. Releases in the UK are issued under the Island Records label. The Rakamani EP was released in January 2008 under Territory Records, a subsidiary of Interscope. and the US edition of Robyn was released in April 2008. With Every Heartbeat, Handle Me, and Cobra Style were top 10 club hits, and the former received airplay at US pop and dance radio stations. Robyn was visible in the US market in 2007 when Britney Spears released the single Piece of Me, which contains Robyn's backing vocals. She was also featured on the Fire Department remix of Sexual Eruption by rapper Snoop Dogg. Robyn completed a short US tour to promote Robyn, and was the supporting act for Madonna's Sticky and Sweet tour at select European dates in 2008. 2009 A Euro Present, Body Talk and New Music. In January 2009, Robyn won a Swedish Grammys Award for Best Live Act 2008. In her acceptance speech, she said that Madonna was to thank for the prize. Robyn stated to Aftonbladet, a Swedish newspaper site, that she wanted to start recording a new album in the beginning of 2009 and that she will work with producers such as Klearup as well as Klaza Lund, who she worked with on Robyn. Robyn is featured on Norway's premier electronic outfit Ra Paragraph Ixip's 2009 album Junior with the song The Girl and the Robot. The song was accompanied by a music video featuring the artist and released internationally as the second single from the album. It peaked at number 2 on the Norwegian singles charts. In 2009, she appeared together with international pop artist Dr. Alban on stage at Way Out West 2009, performing his hit single, No Coke. In March 2010 Robyn appeared on the Swedish television series Don Kolla oss Artista. She said that her goal is to have the new album out in June. She also said that the album will be very personal, like a diary. The track listing was confirmed, including, Donia Euro Unregistered Trademark T Fucking Tell Me What to Do, which is written by Robyn and Klaza Lund, None of Them with Ra Paragraph Ixip, Dance Hall Queen with Diplo, Fembot, and Dancing on My Own, written by Robyn and Patrick Berger. In an interview with Swedish magazine Bonn, Robyn announced that she had plans to release 3 new albums in 2010. The first is due in the spring, with subsequent albums released in the summer and autumn-winter. In May Robyn said in an interview with Stereogum, I think this splitting a full album up into different releases is, in a way, how people listen to music as well. It's more about songs now. But for me this is not an EP or a lesser version of an album. It's an album, but it's maybe not the normal length, so I can go back to the studio again and release these songs while they're actually fresh, and go back to the studio and work on more stuff while touring. To promote the forthcoming album Robyn released the songs Fembot, Dancehall Queen, and None of Dem to digital outlets as promotional singles on April 13, 2010. Robyn released the first part in the Body Talk series, Body Talk .1, on June 14, 2010 in the Nordic countries through EMI and on June 15 in the US through Interscope. It was preceded by the single, Dancing on My Own, on June 1, 2010. The song became Robyn's first #1 hit in Sweden, and her 4th top 10 hit in both the UK and the US, peaking at number 8 on the UK singles chart and at number 3 on Billboard's Hot Dance Club Songs chart. In July 2010 she sang a minimalist electro cover of Alicia Keys' Try Sleeping with a Broken Heart for a live performance on IAT Radio. Robyn embarked on the All Hearts Tour in Julia Euro August 2010 with American singer Kellys in support of the Body Talk albums, as well as a 4-date UK tour at the end of October. On September 6, 2010 Body Talk .2 was released in the United Kingdom. It was preceded by the lead single, a dance version of the song Hang With Me from Body Talk .1, on September 5. The album contains a duet with American rapper Snoop Dogg, You Should Know Better. Robyn appeared and performed Dancing on My Own with Dead May 5 at the 2010 MTV Video Music Awards on September 12, 2010. In an interview with BBC Newsbeat Robyn reflected on the decision to release a trilogy of albums in 1 year, it was just something I felt like I needed to do. I just never thought about selling records or not, making this decision. I just did it for myself. It's a way of, for me, to stay inspired and to be able to do the things I like to do. She said she will not release 3 albums in the span of a year again. When you do 16 or 13 songs in one go, you kind of empty yourself, and it takes a while to fill back up and have new things to talk about, so I think it's good for everyone. Robyn announced the release of the single, Indestructible, on October 13, 2010. An acoustic version appeared on her previous album, Body Talk. 2. The song is set to be released on November 17, 2010 in Scandinavia and on November 22 in the United Kingdom. It is co-written by Klaas Lund, and has been described as a pulsating full-power version, that takes every ounce of that emotion and wraps it up in another exceptional disco-pop record worthy of any dance floor or passion-laden sing-along. On October 20, 2010 Robyn announced the details of Body Talk on her official website, along with the track listing and artwork. She described the album as the turbo version of the Body Talk album, as it includes 5 songs from each previous Body Talk album along with 5 new songs. Robyn will collaborate with Swedish producer Max Martin on the song Time Machine. Martin was responsible for producing Robyn's US breakthrough hits Do You Know, and Show Me Love, which both charted inside the top 10 of the Billboard 100 in 1996 and 1997. Combined, the Body Talk albums have sold 91,000 copies in the United States. In 2010, Robyn guest-starred in War at the Roses, an episode which was on Gossip Girl, where she performed the acoustic version of Hang With Me. Dancing on My Own was also featured at the end of the episode. In a November 2010 video interview with Perez Hilton, Robyn revealed that she was returning to the studio in January 2011, and had enough material to release a new album later in the year. Robyn has been a supporting act for Katy Perry's California Dreams tour in the U.S., summer 2011. On December 10, 2011, Robyn was featured as the musical guest on the episode of Saturday Night Live hosted by Katy Perry, where she performed Call Your Girlfriend and Dancing on My Own. On January 14, 2012, Robyn tweeted, "There's nothing like a good kick drum. In the studio with It's Lofi and Patrick Berger," indicating that she is working on new material. Robyn supported Coldplay in their 2012 tour. She was the opening act in Dallas, Houston, Tampa, Miami, Atlanta, Charlotte, Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. On June 11, 2013, Robyn was featured with A Lonely Island, Paul Rudd, and Sean Combs in Go Kindergarten on Lonely Island's new album The Whack Album. On Midsummer Eve in June 2013 Robyn released a special video project, for the Snoop Dogg collaboration You Should Know Better, Together video longtime collaborator Desider and the 2FACED1 Collective. It consisted of 2 videos, You Should Know Better and Behind the Scenes, and a game, Mixery. The music video, directed by Desider, was nominated at UK Music Video Music Awards for Best International Pop Video 2013. In 2013, Robyn has been honoured with the KTH Royal Institute of Technology and Stockholm's Great Prize for her artistic contributions and embrace of technology. She has won 1.2 million Swedish krona, which she will be donating to a cause of her choosing. For 2014, Robyn announced her tour with Ra Paragraph Ixop, the Do It Again tour. She also indicated that she was recording new music with a band for their upcoming collaboration mini-album titled Do It Again. A snippet of one of the 5 tracks set to be released on the album, Monument, was released the same day. The album will be released on the 26th of May through Don Triumph, Wall of Sound, and Cooking Vinyl. On April 25, 2014, a new single by Ra Paragraph Ixop and Robyn, called Do It Again, premiered on Annie Mac BBC Radio 1. Robyn is featured on Nenny Cherry's Out of the Black, from the album Blank Project. Personal life: the daughter of 2 Swedish actors, Wilhelm Carlsson and Maria Eriksson, Robyn grew up in a creative and artistic environment. She became involved in acting at the age of 9, with a role as an extra in Kronbruden at the Swedish Theatre Dramaten. Robyn has 1 brother, Jack, and 1 sister, Effie. After the release of her second album in 1999, My Truth, Robyn became a UNICEF ambassador and visited, among other countries, Kenya and Tanzania. During her 2 years of dedicating herself to this work, she intended to draw attention to UNICEF and their worldwide work for children in need of aid. In 2000, Pavel Ramel awarded her the Karamelodict Stipendiate, a scholarship for her musical achievements for which most of the reward lies in the prestige and honor, rather than financial incentives. She was engaged to mixed martial artist and artist Olav Inge until 2011. The couple started dating in 2003. She has since become engaged to videographer Max Vitali, referring to him in a 2013 interview with Collection of Style magazine as her fiancé copyright. "We became friends when we made the video for a Bimini unregistered trademark," she explained, "and now we work together a lot. He made all the videos for the last album, Body Talk." Discography. Robyn Is Here, My Truth, Don't Stop the Music, Robyn, Body Talk. 1 Body Talk. 2, Body Talk, Awards and Nominations, see also, Swedish pop music, references. External links, main, official website, Robyn discography at Discogs, Robyn Carlsson at the Internet Movie Database, interviews, other, Robyn interview by Pete Lewis, Blues and Soul, March 2008, Robyn interview on Buzzet.com, Robyn interview on musicomh.com, Robyn interview on Illic Music, Robyn interview by Rashmi Shastri, Robyn's AOL Music Session, Bella Boo interview with Robyn, Robyn's Student Pocket Guide interview, Robyn interview with Exclaim Magazine, Pop Queen Robyn.